Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Bass Plaque Maker.
Mr. Bass Plaque Maker.
Only a true artist like yourself can turn 5 pounds of dead fish into a work of art.
No fishy smell now.
In your capable hands, we know that our trout will never look trashy. Our crappie, never crappy.
Never crappy.
Thanks to you, we can say, I caught this bass. What have you ever done?
Tell me now.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Bass Plaque Maker. Because while a trophy wife may grow old and wrinkled, a trophy bass can now remain forever young.
Forever young, forever.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Bowling Shoe Giver-Outer.
Mr. Bowling Shoe Giver-Outer.
Your tireless efforts keep our feet comfy and sanitized with mountain freshness.
Mountain freshness.
Instinctively, you match left shoe with right, carefully placing each pair in its own tiny shoe house.
Check the number on the back.
One wrong move, and we're on the fast train to Blisterville.
Oh, yeah.
Is he a 9.5 or a 10?
Yeah.
You know. Why? Because you're Mr. Bowling Shoe Giver-Outer.
We couldn't move without you.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, mister, and know it's no accident those shoes are red, white, and blue.
No, we couldn't move without
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Bumper Sticker Writer.
Mr. Bumper Sticker Writer.
Never has one man written so much for so many. Without you, the world may never have known you can't hug with nuclear arms.
I need a hug now.
And just like you, I too would rather be fishing, or square dancing, or even shopping.
Oh, yeah.
I owe, so off to work I go. You said it, brother.
You speak the truth.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh bar to the bumper. Thanks to you, I know it's perfectly all right to honk if I'm horny.
Honk, honk, beep, beep, honk.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Chinese food delivery guy.
Mr. Chinese food delivery guy.
Without you, we'd be forced to do the unthinkable when we wanted Chinese food. Drive to a restaurant.
A mushu got pan.
But you, sir, bring it to us in under 20.
Ride like the wind.
Armed with your rickety bike, you battle traffic, bad weather, and the occasional busted elevator. And why do you do it? Because somewhere a guy is waiting for his Kung Pao crab puffs, and he's got $1.57 with your name on it.
That's 10%.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh mercenary of the Mandarin chicken, and know that when America is looking for a man to get the job done, you do deliver.
You deliver.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Supermarket Deli Meat Slicer.
Mr. Supermarket Deli Meat Slicer.
To feed a
Where they make a chocolate.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Buzzsaw, armed only with a salami.
Just you and your salami.
Behind your glass fortress, you quickly fill orders as shoppers shout, "Hey, I was first."
Take a number, please.
And no matter what you're slicing, from bologna to liverwurst, you always hit your mark. 1/10 of an ounce over.
Just the way I like it.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh master slicer. And remember, when someone asks who cut the cheese, you can proudly say, It's groupies. You have bagged the occasional bride. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Driving Range Ball Picker-Upper.
Mr. Driving Range Ball Picker-Upper.
For our pure enjoyment, you bravely throw yourself directly in the path of adversity, and you do it on a tractor.
Riding high.
Oh, the rules call for friendly fire, but you know we're all gunning for you.
Gunning for you.
Let her rip, you say, because someone's gonna hit a little dribbler, and they're gonna try and chase it down. And when they do, you'll be there.
You'll be there.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light Range, guys, because in this world of namby-pambies, you're the one with all the balls.
Mr. Driving Range Ball Picker-Upper.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Fake Tattoo Inventor.
Mr. Fake Tattoo Inventor.
Through the miracle of hypoallergenic adhesives, you transform us from mild-mannered accountant into roadhouse biker hooligan.
Hooligan.
Be it screaming skull or thrashing tiger, you've got a temporary alter ego for any occasion.
Flaming dragons.
What else says, I love you, Mom, like a heart with a sword through it?
You know I love you, Mama.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Fake Tattoo Inventor guy. We may not have been born to ride, but thanks to you, we can feel like it.
Thank you, Mr. Fake Tattoo Inventor.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Footlong Hot Dog Inventor.
Mr. Footlong Hot Dog Inventor.
When conventional wisdom said no one could make a hot dog longer than 6 inches, you dared to dream.
Dared to dream.
You knew the limitations of a regular-size hot dog bun, and you ignored them.
Can't stop me now.
You made a 10-inch wiener, and people cheered.
Oh.
But you weren't satisfied. You said, wait, I think I can still give you 2 more inches.
Gotta want it.
And so the Footlong was born. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Hot Dog Hero, because you gave every single one of us our fondest wish, a bigger wiener.
Thank you, thank you.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Fortune Cookie Fortune Writer.
Mr. Fortune Cookie Fortune Writer.
Most writers leave their wisdom in a book. You leave yours in a cookie.
Crunchy cookie.
Sure, they taste good, but it's the information you provide that we're really hungry for.
Love is round the corner.
Though your tablet is small, your message never is.
Show me the way.
Of course, the Mushu pork and the egg foo young fill our bellies. It's your inspiration that keeps us well nourished. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Fortune Cookie Fortune Writer, because when you say our luck is about to change, we believe you.
We believe.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Garden Gnome Maker.
Mr. Garden Gnome Maker.
Anyone can dress up a yard with a shrub or some gladiolas, but it takes real guts to use a small, brightly colored ceramic man.
You're the man.
And what says, welcome to our home, like a dwarf in the hedges.
Standing tall.
Many a night you've slaved over a hot ceramic man-maker, knowing somewhere there was a lonely pink flamingo or a cement frog who needed a buddy.
Oh.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh master of miniatures. Because as all Americans know, a home isn't a home without a gnome.
Take me home.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Giant Foam Finger Maker.
Mr. Giant Foam Finger Maker.
Without you, our teams would be in 6th or 7th place and feel as if they were in 6th or 7th place.
Can you feel it?
Carefully, you craft uncanny representations of actual human hands so that we may wave them annoyingly in the faces of our rivals.
In your face.
They're enormous, yes, yet one size fits all. Brilliant.
Raise them to the sky now.
So crack open a nice cold Bud Light, Mr. Foam Finger Maker, and know we speak for sports fans everywhere when we say, no, you're number one.
Giant Foam Finger Maker.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Golf Ball Washer Inventor.
Mr. Golf Ball Washer Inventor.
The time-honored game of golf is the sport of kings, and kings don't play with dirty balls.
Don't play dirty.
Because of you, we can give our balls a sudsy tumble at every tee. The result? Clean, shiny balls every time we whack 'em.
Flying high.
Drive after drive, putt after putt, hole after hole. Our dimpled balls stay clubhouse clean.
Keep on driving.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Launderer on the links. You are in our thoughts every time we jiggle our balls.
Mr. Golf Ball Washer Inventor.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Hawaiian shirt pattern designer.
Mr. Hawaiian shirt pattern designer.
You provide us with colorful loungewear capable of hiding any stain we can dish out.
Getting sloppy.
Who else could create flowered shirts that are still so unmistakably masculine? A single shirt that matches every pair of pants we own and really sets off a white belt.
Looking good now.
Sure, women say they hate them, but inside, they're all swooning for the big kahuna.
Ooh, kahuna.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Hawaiian shirt pattern designer. Your shirts may not be made in Hawaii, but Taiwan is an island too.
Mr. Hawaiian shirt designer.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Inspirational Poster Writer.
Mr. Inspirational Poster Writer.
Without you, how would we ever know that today, not tomorrow or last Thursday, is the first day of the rest of our lives?
Starting right now.
You ask us to take it one day at a time and remind us turkeys flock, but eagles soar alone.
Soaring high.
Only you could turn a picture of a kitten doing chin-ups into something more than cuddly. You make it inspiring.
Believe in yourself.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh poet of the poster. You try very hard to make us try very, very hard.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Jelly Donut Filler.
Mr. Jelly Donut Filler.
Many a night you pondered the question, how can I get some jelly shoved into a plain powdered donut's blowhole?
In the blowhole.
Inspiration and perspiration led you to invent the answer.
the Jelly Super Squirter.
Super Squirter.
Late at night, all night, you work your squirter so that we can wake up satisfied and enjoy our breakfast jelly treat.
Work your squirter.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Jelly Donut Filler. Nobody else takes it to the hole quite the way you do.
Thank you, Mr. Jelly Donut Filler.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Losing Locker Room Reporter.
Mr. Losing Locker Room Reporter.
Wherever a semi-naked man is crying like a schoolgirl because he lost a ball game, you are there.
So sad, too bad now.
Why did they lose? Because some millionaire dropped the ball. A millionaire who needs a mic stuck in his face on national television.
Oh, no.
Go ahead, wear your cashmere blazer to work. No one's going to pour champagne on it where you're going.
They'll just lose us.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh bringer of bad news. You're not a big loser. You just interviewed them.
Don't wanna talk about it.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Major League Infield Raker.
Mr. Major League Infield Raker.
Your precision movements and split-second timing keep America's infield safe for play and covered with cool, swirly designs.
Fully designed.
Millions watch as you weave your standard issue rake inches from the bag, then skillfully switch to the more advanced woven metal thing on a chain.
Woven metal thing.
Yeah, it has a name, but we wouldn't understand. Why? Because we're not Mr. Major League Infield Raker. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh Duke of Dirt. Because for every kid who wants to be a Major League slugger, there's another who wants to be a guy with a rake.
Infield Raker.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Male Football Cheerleader.
Mr. Male Football Cheerleader.
Real men don't just play smash-mouth football. Real men turn cartwheels and somersaults on the sidelines, tucked safely away from the action.
Don't touch me now.
Fourth down and inches. The game's on the line. It all comes down to you. Will you call for a perky pyramid or a peppy line dance?
Get on my shoulders.
Knock 'em back, all the way to Hackensack. So grab an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Male Football Cheerleader. You may never score a touchdown, but you're peppy.
Yay!
That's gotta count for something.
That's gotta count for something.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Outside the Stadium Peanut Seller.
Mr. Outside the Stadium Peanut Seller.
You stand like a sentry outside the grounds of our national pastime, offering us your salty nuts.
Nice and crunchy.
Half price on the outside, all the taste. That's your pitch.
Nuts for scratch.
There's nothing like spending a summer day on a hard bleacher seat, crunching your nuts.
Crunch, crunch. Oh.
Unless maybe it's sitting behind home plate, spreading mustard on your wiener. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Outside the Stadium Peanut Seller, because thanks to you, a bag of peanuts costs just peanuts.
Mr. Outside the Stadium Peanut Seller.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Parking Attendant Flashlight Waver.
Mr. Parking Attendant Flashlight Waver.
Leaving the security of your 2x2 foot heated hut, you light the way.
Show me the way.
Defying physics and most insurance policies, you wedge my midsize into the space of a compact. While you act like you couldn't care less about my car, I know deep down inside, you don't.
It's just a car.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, O czar of the parked car. As long as that extra sawbuck translates to easy out, we'll keep pulling her in.
We couldn't part without
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Pit Crew Water Bottle Squirter.
Mr. Pit Crew Water Bottle Squirter.
In a world of RPMs and MPGs, you're all about H2O.
H2O.
Sure, anyone can take a car apart and put it back together again. But not just anyone can squirt water.
You've got it in you.
Reach, squeeze, precision timing. 1 inch off, and you've got a soggy driver and a potential squeegee situation.
Watch out, that's water.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Pit Crew Water Bottle Squirter, because as far as we're concerned, you're not just in the pits. You are the pits.
Mr. Pit Crew Water Bottle Squirter.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Designer.
Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Designer.
While lesser designers would shy away from putting 300-pound men in spandex, you embrace it.
Yes, you do.
Pushing fashion to its limits, literally, you pair tights with a cape, a leotard with a mask, leather boots with a thong.
Oh, looking good.
All understated ways of saying, I'm going to rip your head off and look fabulous doing it. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Guy, because without you, a man crushing another man's head in his arms would just look silly.
Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Design.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Professional Movie Extra Guy.
Mr. Professional Movie Extra Guy.
Never in the history of cinema have so many done so little for so many.
You're a star.
Anybody can pay $8 to see a movie, but only a true artist can be paid $8 to be in a movie.
Shiny, shiny star.
Snotty lead actors need lines, direction, motivation. Not you. You sit on your butt perfectly in scene after scene.
That's Hollywood.
A true pro, you're always focused, even if you're seldom in focus. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Nobody, because you're not just anybody, you're a paid anybody.
I don't recognize
Bud
you.
Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Putt Golf Course Designer.
Mr. Putt Golf Course Designer.
Through the magic of AstroTurf and animatronics, you've taken the time-honored game of golf and made it fun again.
Keep on stroking.
They said a 3-foot putt wasn't a challenge, so you added windmills.
Tiny windmills.
While lesser men wasted time with fairways and sand traps, you had visions of fiberglass volcanoes and giant clown heads.
Clowns freak me out now.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Putt Golf Course Designer, because you and I know that a round of golf should always include Indian teepees.
Mr. Putt Golf Course Designer.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
More than any neon sign or exploding scoreboard ever could, your chrome dome cover says, "Hey guys, look at me."
What could you be thinking?
You think it looks natural, but it couldn't look phonier if it had a chin strap.
A couldn't fool a blind man.
Made of space-age fibers, it can repel anything. Rain, wind, snow, and especially young women.
I don't think so.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Stud in a Rug. Then crack open another for that thing on your head.
I don't think it's all straight.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Underwear Inspector number 12.
Mr. Underwear Inspector number 12.
Whether it be tidy whities or banana hammocks, you're the one who makes sure our skivvies cut the mustard.
Riding high.
You make sure the door is fastened with secure seams so that the cow doesn't get out of the barn when it shouldn't.
Don't let it out.
Dedicating yourself to a craft others might poo-poo, you can pass every single man on the street and say with pride, "You there, you're wearing my underpants."
Oh, yeah.
And no, I don't want them back. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Eagle Eyes, because we're all glad you've got your hands in our shorts.
Change 'em every day.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Wrecking Ball Operator.
Mr. Wrecking Ball Operator.
You do what lesser men can only dream about. You smash great big things into little bitty pieces.
Totally awesome.
42 stories of brick, mortar, and iron? No problem. You'll have it down by lunch.
Bring it all down.
Some might say your job is easy, but never to your face. Why? 'Cause you'll come up swinging a 2,000-pound ball.
Oh, yeah.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Wrecking Man, because anybody can build a building, but it takes a man with one giant ball to bring it down.
Mr. Wrecking Ball Operator.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents
Real Men of Genius.
Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Inventor.
Mr. All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Inventor.
You've given us the real American dream. A tray, 15 feet of food, and a little sign that says, "Go nuts, buddy."
Oh, pinch me, I'm dreaming.
Pushing side dish innovation to its limits, you offer creamed everything and 400 flavors of gelatin.
Feed and frenzy.
If there's beef, you'll chip it. If there's chicken, you'll fry it. And if there's gravy, well, then everything's going to be okay.
Oh, thank God for the gravy.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, buffet boy. You know the way to a man's heart and a few hundred tasty ways to challenge it.
Mr. All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Inventor.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Bud Light presents
Real Men of Genius.
Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Athletic Groin Protector Inventor.
Mr. Athletic Groin Protector Inventor.
People love to play sports, but they don't love it when they get hit in the twig and berries.
Oh!
For years, cringing fans watched as man after man went down. But then you came along and said, "Here, stick this in your pants."
Nice to meet you.
The errant headbutt, the inside fastball, the wayward high five, all no match for your crash helmet.
I'll bring it on.
Sure, some athletes shun them, but don't worry, they'll come around.
Show us the way.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, protector of the package, and know that we're just nuts about you.
We're just nuts.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Bud Light presents
Real Men of Genius.
Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Beach Metal Detector Guy.
Mr. Beach Metal Detector Guy.
Some seek their fortune on the stock market, others in real estate. But you look for loose change in the sand.
Hitting the jackpot.
Armed with a 5-foot Geiger counter and the world's largest set of earphones, you live your life with a simple code of honor. Finders keepers, losers weepers.
Finders keepers.
Sure, people mock you, but he who holds 92 cents, a gold-plated earring, and a steel-toed boot gets the last laugh.
Who's laughing now?
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh Sultan of the Sand. We'd give you a medal, but you probably already found one.
Mr. Beach Metal Detector Guy.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. BoomBox carrying Rollerskater.
Mr. BoomBox carrying Rollerskater.
Shunning the conveniences of modern inline skates, you prove that real men do it on 8 pink polypropylene wheels.
A pretty pink wheels.
The crouched one-leg extension, the squat and spin, every move as tight as your shorts.
A giddy-up cowboy.
Yes, your station is tuned to all disco all the time. And bravely, so is your haircut.
Very foxy.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. BoomBox carrying Rollerskater, and know that we fully support real artistic expression. But enough about that. Let's roller skate.
Mr. BoomBox carrying Rollerskater.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Centerfold Retoucher.
Mr. Centerfold Retoucher.
Your incredible talent takes gorgeous women and somehow makes them gorgeouser.
A mucho gorgioso.
Breasts bigger, moles smaller, mustaches gone.
You're a star.
Thanks to you, hot wax is a thing of the past, and working out is for suckers.
Ancient history.
Any artist can say their work is in a gallery, but how many can say their work is stuffed under mattresses around the world?
You're gonna go blind.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, old Da Vinci of the Derriere, because thanks to you, we can enjoy real beauty the way we like it. Completely fake. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Company Computer Guy.
Mr. Company Computer Guy.
You are the ruler of the RAM, the guru of the gigabyte, the monster of the memory.
Show me the way.
When we screw up the boot up, you are there. Without you, computers would megabyte.
Megabyte.
The countless hours we spend surfing the internet and accidentally stumbling upon porn sites would instead be spent working.
Working for the man.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Company Computer Guy. For it's you who keeps our log-ons logging and our hard drives light, Guitar Guy. Because every wedding you go to, Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Edible Underwear Maker.
Mr. Edible Underwear Maker.
Your true genius combined two of man's favorite things, panties and food.
I can taste it now.
They're a snack, they're underwear, they're a snack and underwear. Brilliant.
2 treats in one.
Gorgeous grape, rock my world raspberry, bodacious banana.
26 flavors.
And nothing says I want you like a man with a mouthful of underpants.
I want you, baby.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Edible Underwear Maker. Because thanks to you, when it comes to panties, extra large means extra yummy.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Fancy Coffee Shop Coffee Pourer.
Mr. Fancy Coffee Shop Coffee Pourer.
What do you do with a master's degree in art history? You get a nose ring and pour coffee for a living.
Pour it on now.
Why is it called a latte? Maybe because it costs a latte, and it takes a latte time to make.
A whole lot of latte.
Someone ordered a cappuccino? Step aside. Let the man who works the milk foamer take over.
Step aside.
Sure, you charge $5 for a cup of coffee. It's putting that tip jar out that takes real guts.
Yeah.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, guru of the ground roast. It's not the caffeine that gives us the buzz. It's you.
Mr. Fancy Coffee Shop Coffee
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Giant Inflatable Pink Gorilla Maker.
Mr. Giant Inflatable Pink Gorilla Maker.
The automotive industry's most convincing marketing tool, the giant gas-filled pink gorilla.
Such a big monkey.
Factory rebates, 0% financing, poppycock. Nothing sells cars like a helium-happy primate.
You said it, brother.
Why a gorilla? Because who'd buy a car from a dealer with a giant inflatable hamster?
Not gonna buy it.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, O king of the automotive jungle. When we say you're the greatest, we're not just blowing hot air.
Mr. Giant Inflatable Pink Gorilla Maker.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Giant Taco Salad Inventor.
Mr. Giant Taco Salad Inventor.
A culinary creation that baffles the human mind. A 12,000-calorie salad.
Ah, caramba.
Ground beef, refried beans, guacamole, cheese, sour cream, and if there's any room left, a few shreds of lettuce.
I don't see no lettuce.
Some may ask, is your taco salad healthy? Of course it is. It's a salad, isn't it?
You can eat that deep-fried crunchy bowl.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, conquistador of the calorie. You put the feast in fiesta.
Mr. Giant Taco Salad Inventor.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Hollywood Plastic Surgeon.
Mr. Hollywood Plastic Surgeon.
Great actors are born, not made. And when they're born with a big fat honking schnoz, you are there.
Doctor, can you help me?
It's a tough town that demands talent, and talent can't be bought. But a huge set of distracting knockers can.
Big giant knockers.
A snip here, a nip, a tuck, another snip. It takes less time to cut a major motion picture than it does a major movie star.
Oh, that's Hollywood.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Fake Movie Star Maker. You take the suck out of liposuction.
Mr. Hollywood Plastic Surgeon.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Horse-Drawn Carriage Driver.
Mr. Horse-Drawn Carriage Driver.
You start your day with a tip-tip and a cheerio, which is odd because you're from Brooklyn.
Jolly old Brooklyn.
While most people sit behind a desk, you proudly sit 2 feet behind a 4-legged manure factory. No one knows the guts it takes to ride the subway to work dressed as a foppish dandy from the 18th century. Blaring horns, profanity, vicious insults, all met with a courtly tip of your stovepipe hat.
Cheerio.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, buggy boy, because the way you say giddy up makes us say, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Male Fur Coat Wearer.
Mr. Male Fur Coat Wearer.
Perhaps fashion's greatest mystery. What makes a big, strong man say, I think I need a new fur coat?
I don't know.
The very height of political incorrectness. Nothing says, I could give a rat's rear end like a man in a floor-length chinchilla.
Taking no prisoners.
A look that's half street pimp, half Aunt Esther, and full-on fur-tastic. Sure, it's gauche, but you don't spend more on your coat than your car, not to be noticed.
Look at me.
So crack open a nice cold Bud Light, Mr. Male Fur Coat Wearer, because it takes a real man to wear a lady's coat.
Mr. Male Fur Coat Wearer.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Nudist Colony Activity Coordinator,
Mr. Nudist Colony Activity Coordinator.
wearing nothing but a whistle and a clipboard. You're living the real American dream. Getting paid to think up fun things to do naked.
Running free.
Sure, there's danger. Vinyl chairs, sunburns, chafage, and lawn darts completely out of the question.
Watch out now.
Your keen instincts tell you to stick to activities that involve lots of bouncing and jiggling. And if that doesn't work, who cares? You're all naked.
It's your birthday.
So crack open a nice cold Bud Light, nudie boy, because we all know when the going gets tough, the tough get naked.
The Nudist Colony Activity Coordinator.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Professional Figure Skater.
Mr. Professional Figure Skater.
While lesser men strapped on skates and played hockey, you don skin-tight leotards and a teeny cowboy hat and learn figure eights.
Going round and round.
You practiced and practiced, hoping, knowing, someday you'd be good enough to wear a giant puppet costume and skate in an ice show.
Welcome to the big time.
Skate perfectly and you're a crowd pleaser. Mess up and fall on your butt, and you're still a crowd pleaser.
Oh!
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh titan of the tights. You may never wear a medal, but sequins are shiny too.
Mr. Professional Figure Skater.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Restroom Toilet Paper Refiller.
Mr. Restroom Toilet Paper Refiller.
Without your undying commitment, we might find ourselves trapped in a stall, armed only with our newspaper.
Oh, I need you now.
Like a brave soldier, you storm hostile territory, delivering much-needed supplies to your men.
Oh!
Should you leave one roll, or two, or perhaps that giant 10-pound super roll?
Keep rolling.
While others rest, you can't, because somewhere there's a guy with his pants around his ankles doing the bunny hop in search of a fresh roll. So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, master of the men's room, because if you don't do your business, we can't do
Is
ours.
there anybody out there?
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
Mr. Silent Killer Gas Passer.
Last night, you had the enchilada combo platter. This morning, the 3-cheese omelet with broccoli. This afternoon, you're a ticking time bomb. Because of you, a simple elevator ride is suddenly a 42-floor plummet into the very bowels of hell.
You take my breath away.
Who did it? Who cares? Sweet mercy, please just someone light a match.
Sweet, sweet mercy.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh ninja of the nasty. And while you're at it, crack open a window.
Miss a silent killer gas passer.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Souvenir Snow Globe Maker.
Mr. Souvenir Snow Globe Maker.
Scoffing at Mother Nature, you bring snowy wonderment to miniature Mauis, tiny Tampas, and itty-bitty Bahamas.
It's a small, small world.
Sure, Rome wasn't built in a day, but mini Snow Globe Rome was.
A Viva Italy.
Today's forecast for mini Rio de Janeiro, massive flooding, followed by snow.
Can't stop it now.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, champion of the Tchotchke, because you make everyone's world a little smaller and a whole lot snowier.
Mr. Souvenir Snow Globe Maker.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas.
Bud Light presents
Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Sports Fan Face Painter.
Mr. Sports Fan Face Painter.
Unlike Van Gogh or Rembrandt, you use yourself as the canvas. Half yellow, half green, but all heart.
Look at me.
As if weighing 400 pounds didn't call enough attention to yourself, you had to go shirtless and paint yourself bright orange.
I said, look at me.
And you top it all off with a rainbow wig, oversized sunglasses, and absolutely no shame.
No, seriously, I said, look at me.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Sports Fan Face Painter, and know we'll keep cheering for you until we are orange, purple, or blue in the face.
Mr. Sports Fan
Bud
Face
Light Beer at
Painter.
Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Bud Light presents
Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Supermarket Free Sample Guy.
Mr. Supermarket Free Sample Guy.
Though man dreads few things more than a trip to the supermarket, you offer us hope, and sometimes a free mini-weenie.
I love that freebie weenie.
What exactly do you have? Aerosol cheese products? Deep-fried morsels? Who cares? If it's on a toothpick and it's free, it could be plutonium and we'd eat it.
It's all good, baby.
For a guy wearing oven mitts and an apron, you're all right.
You're a star.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light Titan of the toothpick, because you put the free in freedom.
Let me free.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Tiny Thong Bikini Wearer.
Mr. Tiny Thong Bikini Wearer.
Beachgoers the world over see you coming and say, hey, check out the woolly mammoth in the rubber band.
A giant woolly mammoth.
Defying the natural laws of physics, you managed to squeeze a 46-inch waist into a 30-inch suit. Like ground meat crammed into a sausage skin, you take to the beach and proudly strut your stuff.
Yeah!
If you've got it, flaunt it. That's your motto, which is ironic because you haven't got it. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, sweet cheeks, and know that if you weren't wearing that suit, we'd ask you to take a bow.
Mr. Tiny Thong Bikini Wearer.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bud Light presents
Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Tuxedo Shop Tux Renter.
Mr. Tuxedo Shop Tux Renter.
When the evening calls for 5 groomsmen in identical robin's egg blue double-breasteds, you are there.
It's your wedding day.
Last night, little Jason Weinstein had the slow dance of his life in the exact same pants I'm now wearing.
Lucky Jason Weinstein.
Any schmo can wear a suit, but only a gentleman can pull off a canary yellow set of tails with a matching top hat.
You're a star.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Titan of the Tux, because a classy event always calls for rented clothes.
Mr. Tuxedo Shop Tux Renter.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado. Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Used Car Lot Auto Salesman.
Mr. Used Car Lot Auto Salesman.
Slick back hair, a sharkskin suit, alligator boots. You cultivate a look that oozes, trust me.
I think that I can trust you.
You stand behind every car you sell, because if you stood in front and the brakes failed, you'd be crushed.
You better watch out now.
Oil leak? What oil leak? That puddle under the car is just sweat from all that horsepower.
Let the horses out now.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Peddler of the sheet metal, because when life hands you lemons, you sell them.
Mr. Used Car Lot Auto Salesman.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.